Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. We had actually just, let's just make sure YouTube's working. We had just an absolute treat today at TRI. And this is what I was really hoping to see this website and these daily briefs and our sort of community participation evolve into. So super stoked. But we had a special guest on the daily brief today, a principal at a coin that we're all very interested in the cryptocurrency space. Ubic, and Alex Sturck came in and talked to us for a good hour about what's going on over at Ubic and developments and what they've got planned going forward. Gotta tell you, super stoked. And I have to say, you know, when listening to Alex's presentation, it's an interesting time that we're living in, and especially if we can connect this bridging thing of DeFi. Wow. This is going to be a genie that's going to be damn difficult for Big Brother to put back in the box. That's for sure. Over the short term, so you know, by all means, if you're interested, you know, if you are part of the Ubic community, reach out to Alex. You could probably share that. In fact, I asked Kevin if he could share the video link with Alex and his Ubic people, because he would like all of you guys to watch that too. And of course, if you want to come in and see the video, you can, I suppose, you know, if you want a 30-day trial kind of thing and just take a look. But I got to tell you, that was an hour. That was definitely educational. And actually, we even did a Q&A with the site members where the community asked Alex questions, and they were really good questions. So super stoked for Alex and Ubic's future. And needless to say, I have been a buyer of late, so I have no problem adding to that position. Maybe we're getting a little pricey here, but anyway, that's here nor there. I'll leave your timing decisions up to you and your plan. Nice to see. Gotta say, man, Stuart's just kicking ass. It's got the site just humming along. We got our crisp breadth indicator information back up and running, and I think this actually describes current stock market kind of position rather well. We're kind of flaffy, if that is a word, flaffy. We're susceptible to short-term breaks, but we're still pointing up. And I even saw that this morning, Powell, and, you know, hell, even big crypto, short-term breaks. Oh, Jesus. Just try and remember, folks, location is the most important reason if you're ever thinking about taking a trade. And actually, you know, I can even showcase this now. Check this out. It's so cool. The entire sort of capital market. We can get sort of an overview of who's driving the bus. And you can see crypto did get overbought. Any reading above 70, that's a concern. And it is correcting now. Interesting to see that the alts also have rolled over to a certain degree. So they're probably in cleanup mode for the next little while. Interesting to see transports trying to turn back up. So some internal strength, but that bond market just looks like a train wreck. And of course, utilities, they follow bond yields very closely, so they're going to look like a train wreck too. Mr. Druckenmiller's comments recently about commodities still seem to be apt, but you notice we're getting up into that overbought territory. So if we start getting up into that area, you could probably think about tops in commodities. And I kind of like that thinking too, because crude oil sure has gone an awful long way. And the sectors also, you know, kind of looking a little dangerous up here. We're not quite overbought, but we're definitely getting into territory that should be concerning. And, you know, if we think that crypto is the ultimate leading indicator in this market, and based on Alex, what he said today, I could see that, you know. The regulators, they're probably going to be wrapped up in Robinhood kind of nonsense. And DeFi has got, you know, it's got this sort of smart money's attention. But the point here is that just because that's the leader of the economic, maybe this it's going to be one of the main drivers of growth that the Fed desperately wants. So maybe they're going to encourage this. But in the short term, DeFi and crypto is kind of like, let's take a bit of a pause and clean up. And in a weird sort of way, I could kind of see that they're going to lead the rest of the risk market here. So actually interesting to see Australia's already broken down here. Anyway, looking at your matrix that I like to talk to you guys about, US dollar kind of waffling now back at head and shoulder bottom levels. Probably asking, do we want to head and shoulders our top here? It was interesting listening to the bankers today because ultimately I think the bankers, they've got complete control. And if the bankers don't get what they want, they'll just dump the whole fucking economy. It'll just collapse. And then they'll come back in when the politicians are more agreeable, we'll say. And they'll say, okay, well, would you like to renegotiate now? So to a certain degree, I think this morning it was kind of like, remember we had talked that the S&P has this nasty 5-bar fractal, huge top here. And I think to a certain degree this morning, and Powell speaking in front of the U.S. government, basically saying, the bankers aren't ready to screw you over just yet. Some of the messages I heard out of him were kind of like, we are very interested in these digital cryptocurrency proxies. We're not quite ready for a Fed coin, but motherfuckers, we're working our asses off to get up to speed. That's what I heard today. I also heard two things like, from the banker's perspective, I appreciate that, yes, this economy is incredibly tilted, and it's probably the gap between the rich and the poor is going to get wider and wider and wider. But there's nothing the Fed's going to do about that. They don't give a rat's ass. And what I also heard from him, in not so many words, but basically the message was, if you are not educated, you're screwed. Those low-hanging fruit kind of stupid jobs that people enjoyed, and he's saying there's like 10 million workers that were in those, sort of retail front-end, no-brain kind of jobs. They're probably not coming back. And when the economy gets going again, a lot of those jobs are just going to be replaced by robots. So, very explicit message. Get your goddamn education up to speed or you're going to be poor the rest of your life, which is kind of sad. But, and coming from a banker, I would expect him to say that, right? And he's going to be trying to be polite, but he's going to say, hey, I'm not here to save your ass. I'm not here to give you free money. You want to borrow money? Great. We'll let you go into debt, but there's no fucking way you're getting anything free from me. And I'm worried that, once we get beyond COVID and things stabilize, because a lot of the right-wing politicians right now are going, this is out of hand. What the hell's going on here? And he's like, yeah. Well, during the crisis, it is justifiable to be out of hand. But he's like, the number one priority right now is you got to get those vaccines out there. Once the vaccines, and the interesting message from him was that consumers have not spent any money through all this. And that's one of the main reasons why the economy's collapsed. And what the message I heard from him was, you get this vaccine out there and deal with this COVID problem, which is what he wants. As soon as you do that, you're probably going to see the economy just go crazy to the upside. I heard that the left wing was desperately trying to get him to justify huge stimulus packages. And I don't think he said that. I in fact, a few times, like especially that Elizabeth Warren, she's very left wing. She really wanted to get him to the point where he's like, yes, we need you to spend money. Big social programs. And he was like, I'm not going to say that. You do what you want. It's fiscal policy. And I don't think that the bankers really want that. if anything, what they want is to get the goddamn vaccines in people's arms and get the economy going again. And as soon as that happens, then this economy, he thinks, is going to take off like a rocket. So I thought that was fascinating. That's my interpretation of what I heard from him. So, can we get the vaccine into people's arms? And I think what I heard, like especially in Canada, they've made a political pledge that we will have every Canadian vaccinated by Labor Day. Oh, wonderful. So I don't know how long this this sort of malaise of this vaccination, but once that happens, then I wouldn't be surprised we're going to go into one of these sort of roaring 20s kind of environments. And that might last for like a good 5-10 years. And ironically enough, the Fed's going to be talking about inflation starting to pick up, so that they're going to have to start normalizing interest rates, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, fascinating times we live in, that's for sure. U.S. dollar coming out of all that, I don't think anything changed here. I think they're waiting for whether that stimulus package is being passed, and until that, we're probably just stuck in a trading range. And, you might find like international news pushes this market more than domestic news. Stocks, like I said, they V-topped. And interesting, on this open here this morning, the junior stocks, they were just giving them away. I mean, literally junior stocks opened up like 20-30% lower with massive gaps. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And it was actually you saw this graphically in things like the shitcoins, right? And the speculative part of crypto. Basically, they were just, as soon as heading into that Fed speech, they were just like, all risk off the table. I don't care. Just get me out. Which really, ironically enough, that sends breadth in the short term all negative. So if everybody's sold and everything's down, well, then there's no more sellers. Which way is the price got to go? It has to spring back. And that's what I think is happening right now. You see this pretty big tail in the S&Ps. And you even see a bit of a tail on the juniors. And, crypto to a certain degree also saw that. You can see how there's a real fight on Bitcoin here to try and hold this 38.2. And the shitcoins, of course, they just puked out. Typical. And they're trying to desperately put in some sort of floor here. So that's your backdrop for today. Like I said, the commodity breadth is starting to get up into nosebleed territory. And you look at something like crude oil and you got to go, yeah, well, I can understand why. How ironic, eh, Kevin? Do you see this? Remember we drew this A, B, C, D probably a few weeks ago, and gee whiz, doink. Look at that. We just banged right into that trend line and the A, B, C, D objective, and also, hey, why don't we throw in a Foggenbaum level there? There's Kevin's killer 88.6, which will make him famous for buying Bitcoin when it tagged its 88.6 to the downside. So that's basically the exact opposite of what Kevin did with Bitcoin last year. So guys, I wouldn't be surprised if that's probably some sort of secular top there. Having said that, I've said previously that I thought this thing was just it was over and it was done. And of course the market just screams higher. So if anything, it's a fantastic analogy that your opinion, especially Brian's opinion, doesn't mean jack shit. But having said that, very difficult for me to justify, especially with the breadth of data, the way that I showed you on the commodities, and then seeing this chart. How the hell do you justify coming in on the buy side there? If anything, what we need to do, if you are an oil bull, is it sure would be nice to just get some sort of consolidation here to set up the next whatever it is you're going to do. So I think crude and the commodities have rallied into a very big objective. Now what? And then, of course, I've been worried that this was a 1 year coast to coast. You don't really see it on this contract. But remember, that was that nonsense with the crude oil market going to like minus $30 there. But that was the bottom in the stock market last year. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of top 1 year later here. And also, too, I noticed Canadian government itself is getting super active on tax bills and stuff. And they're sending big notices. You got to pay your taxes ahead of time this year, sir. You might find that actually a lot of people had equity get bid up and stuff like this just so that they could pay their taxes, and then they're going to be selling to make sure that those tax bills are paid. So, upside objectives, got big fractals. You see where 38.2s are. We just hit big objectives on the commodities. It's awfully tough for me to make an argument that risk is on here. If anything, I would prefer that we kind of maybe go through a cleanup period of a month or so. Bonds gotten absolutely destroyed recently. I don't know whether they're really at a bottom level here or they're just sort of floating out in no man's land. You can't really call lows here, like look left, that's probably a low there, but that's a good point, a few points lower. And then really the ultimate last bottom cycle was way down here. So how do you step in front of that and call a bottom? Impossible. But could we enjoy a nice little counter trend rally here at some point over the next month or two? It seems logical. Just exactly when. There's no W's yet, and there really wasn't a W off of either of these rallies. So whatever the rally's going to be, it's probably a dead cat bounce kind of thing. And it'll probably happen when people in the risk market kind of go, oh boy, risk is getting kind of risky. Gold market, I think gold popped up here a little bit this morning. Actually yesterday. So Joby Gap, we talked about this recently. That's actually a trade setup for a lot of commodity traders. So they're actually probably buying some gold in here. Looking for moves back up top. But, oh boy, remember we had an inside bar. Technically that was a buy signal. And boom, boom, boom. We had a 3-bar fractal that told you to get out. Basically the same level. This Joby Gap actually is a very specific price objective. We basically take the distance from the gap. Gapping candle off of that high, and your price objective is basically a replication of that range. So, and that would kind of make sense, right? Because you can see the last failure level was this 3-bar fractal. Looks like there's a little bit of a price gap right in there at about 18 and a quarter or so. So, nice little probe up into these wicks. Man, it seems completely logical. And ironically enough, the market that's super strong, I've said this recently, is like the base metals, like silver, copper, cobalt, fluorite. Those are the markets you really want to be super excited about, not really gold. If anything, I've talked to you about the gold-silver ratio. All those base metals relative to even this $1,800-$1,900 price, they're all really cheap still. So I think the base commodity prices are getting bid up to almost actually match gold's price here. Anyway. Juniors versus the big boys. You can see the M that's come in here. So we probably just on balance have to cool our jets. And like I said, Fed was talking. They were just, this is the worst part about the speculative part of the market. Same thing with cryptocurrencies. And this is why it's so stupid to say things like location doesn't matter. What are you, on drugs? You have to respect the fact that at some point, holy shit, this is getting pretty damn risky. Good old 50% rules, WD GAN, just really basic stuff. Not even like advanced technical analysis, just simple TA 101. So even this relationship really should come back down and check these lows here. There's good old 50% rule. This is just natural, like, you stretch a rubber band and it snaps back, not rocket science. So I think that's actually what's going on. And some of these junior stocks just got bid up to just insanely stupid levels. Brian banging out doubles, all that kind of nonsense talk. Look at this Bitcoin chart. You've heard me go on and on and on about this. It's fun to play these penny stocks, but don't kid yourself. A stock that was a penny stock for a very long period of time, and you couldn't give this thing away. It doesn't become like a blue chip $30, $40, $50 stock like that and keep it. There's no fucking way that's going to happen. At some point, the bubble will burst, and that's basically what's going on right now. Like I said, they open it up this morning, and they just get it out the door kind of stuff. And this is why I run these kind of plans where I don't get caught in this bullshit. Didn't get caught in this bullshit. And the worst part about it is, you remember Mr. Barstool, we were making fun of him, where, he probably had a half decent idea, thinking about, well, Mara's probably a good investment, but he comes in through this and he ends up getting flushed out through this. That's exactly why trade location is so fucking important in this game. Drives you crazy. Anyway, point of the matter here is I can't touch that. Can't touch it with a 10-foot pole. One thing actually I will probably put myself on a dollar cost averaging plan is this new Bitcoin ETF. Usually they say these ETFs and IPOs usually fall about 50% of their value when they bring them to market. So you can see this thing was brought to market around $10. Here we are at 9. Traded down to a low here of 8.75. If we start getting W's coming in here, I think I might start doing some buying. But there's no hurry. No hurry whatsoever. I'm just going to simply be patient and disciplined and wait for the W's. And, you know, you go through the whole damn junior market. It all looks like this. This is why you have to sell into these rallies. Except this stupid Beamish guy keeps coming up with these ideas that keep doubling. I mean, this is stupid. I wasn't supposed to be doubling my money here today when the whole fucking market is collapsing. So call it lucky, call it good fundamental analysis. I don't know what the hell you want to call it, but I was exceedingly pleased to be able to put banging out doubles. I'm just following my plan, making money from trading on a day like this. Because trust me, they are just ripping this venture market a new you-know-what here today. Not even many of our little ones up here today. A couple little bright spots. I mean, I really like this company, but I want it down here. So I was kind of happy to see it open up lower this morning. But you bastards, I want it down here. And then also this sky. I like this sky down here. So these are stocks that have just been recently rolled back. So I'm going to keep an eye on them. Haven't bought yet, but both of those I really would like to. And if we could get a big thumping in the gold and metal space, that would make me super happy and probably give me that opportunity to go in. But nothing to do just yet. I'm sitting on just a world of cash. In fact, I'm sitting on cash return. My portfolio is sitting at 97, so that's 15 on 8 is about 20-25% return sitting on cash from year over year. That's not bad, eh? They say annually you're supposed to make 11% return. That's supposed to be your average annual growth. So I'm sitting on about 20% annual return cash, right? That's the cash in the account. And I've got about $50,000 worth of equity that's free of charge. No cost to me whatsoever sitting on the books. Now, that's not a bad position to be in. So I got all my original capital sitting there ready to go. If I want to invest, I've got 50 G's worth of free stock that I've pulled out of this. No risk whatsoever. I'll just leave it on the books. If all this shit falls in half, then I might just actually start going and reloading as I usually do. And that's the way I play the market. I'm a little bit of a weirdo that way. Usually I am buying when other people are selling, and I'm selling when other people are buying. And this Mara is a perfect example of wherever the hell it is, of forcing yourself to sell when other people are going a little stupid. So that's the logic of selling when other people are yelling, and then when nobody wants this shit, buying when they're crying. So see if you can try and do that. It works quite well. Yeah, I think that's basically the market here for you. Not really in a hurry to go and load up on shit. If I see half decent deals, I'll go along, do a little bit of nibbling. In crypto in particular, I've talked to you at length about how there's no way in hell I could be a buyer through any of this. And unfortunately, it's probably going to be the case for a while. I put out a tweet today, of course, horribly politically incorrect. Met with a ton of fuck yous, but frankly, this is how I feel. I've been playing this game so long. I've seen this happen in crypto at least like 2 or 3 times now, so I don't see any reason why this won't happen again. But, there is the Bitcoin chart. There's Kevin's fucking killer trade. I mean, do you think Kevin's feeling pretty good about himself right now? I'll let you decide. Do you think Kevin gives a flying fuck about this kind of price action if you're long from down here? Who cares? This is the people that say location doesn't matter when you actually purchase something. They're the people that are stressing right now. Location is everything in this game. So, it's funny. You see all the comments and stuff. There's a lot of people that are, fuck you, you're a loser, you don't know what you're talking about. But I played this game so long that when I look at a profile like this, it's staring me in the face. We have to come back down to value high here. That's just the way these profiles work. It drives you crazy. Now, how long does that take? I put a tweet out about Ethereum. It's the same damn thing. And I've told you, if we get back down into these reload zones, I think this is a buying opportunity of a lifetime. I've said it before, I'll say it again. But that's trying to get a nice big fat, drive my Lambo kind of return. Coming in here, it might go 10x from here, but just imagine what this guy, that's 100x to this guy. So I can't really think about coming in on the buy side here. And again, look at the profile. You can see where value is. So it's the same shit, just different pile. And if you are laser beam focused about forcing yourself not to chase, don't chase, then this kind of shit doesn't mean anything to you. It's meaningless. This is Mara gapping lower. Do I give a fuck? No, because I sold the whole way up here, and my cost of whatever I have on the coins left is 0. So, I don't know. It's up to you how you play this game, but coming in and buying this asset through this is just asking for trouble, and sure enough, there's your trouble. Bang. So, I sure hope you made it through that. I'll tell you, I don't have a care in the world. And frankly speaking, I might trade this if we set up nice double bottom bot setups. You know how I trade. I might take a long on something like this. But as it stands right now, we've got a V-top here. You see how V-top, market had to rally back up, test the highs, and then we had to sort of, okay, are we going to W here? So that's probably what's going to happen here, is there'll be some sort of counter trend rally back up top to test the top end of the range. Then we'll come back down, and my hunch is we're probably going to do something right along this curve here. That might set up our next leg higher into the summer. Like I said, I heard from Alex today. We had a great presentation from him. Holy Jesus. The number one problem for Ethereum right now is that their product is just not competitive anymore. It's too expensive. I've explained this before. Mr. Vitalik, he doesn't even like his price this high. And what I'm hearing is that something like a Ubic is a perfect alternative. It's basically a clone to Ethereum. They do all the same code as Ethereum. And if they can get this, they call it bridging. If they can get this, and he says it should happen in the next quarter. So I like the idea of a correction in this space, and then your counter trend rally back up to test those highs kind of idea on that big event, that bridging event that's supposed to happen over the next quarter. I could see a scenario where these big names like Ethereum and Bitcoin and stuff, they play around in a trading range up here. Where exactly is the top? Where is the bottom? I don't know. But we're heading into sort of the summer silly season for crypto, which is usually a friendly time period. So if anything, what I would say is, hunt your altcoins, hunt your names, Ubics, Alex even, he gave us a few names that he's interested that are not Ubic that he's interested in. So there are names out there that I think you can make a lot of money on, but just try and buy the W's. Try and buy a good trade location. Try and have indicator confirmation. Then it improves the odds of you actually making money from this game called trading. And when it comes to something like Ethereum and this Bitcoin even up top here, I don't see anything that really needs to be done right now. There's just a big hurry up and do nothing. Interesting how we had a couple longer term, higher time frame, Foggenbaum levels come in here. And I put out a tweet, we colorfully call these chaos levels for chaos theory. So what does chaos actually look like? And frankly speaking, the way that people were kind of mocking me recently and my classic approach to trading, which I think I've done fairly well over the years, I had sort of said that in previous conversations that I figured by the end of this, people would basically be discounting sort of professional opinions in this game. And that is what chaos looks like, where nothing makes any sense. Man, fuck, just buy it. You're guaranteed to make money, which of course you're not. And location doesn't matter. Indicator signals, they don't matter. That's kind of what chaos actually looks like. So I thought this was a really, really good lesson of actually the application of mathematical formula expressed through human behavior. So, and it's actually a great little tell for me to sort of be thinking about what are the kind of social media responses that I'm going to get from my posts, and how does that relate to sort of chaotic thinking in the marketplace. I have to say I was quite pleased to see the way that this went, because this is exactly what should have happened. So, awesome! TA for the win! Turns out this math stuff is actually kind of important. So there's sort of your message here. Interesting. You know, they kind of flushed out the weak hands now. We're banging up into kind of an important technical level against previous lows, 38.2s. You can see the fight going on here. So clearly somebody, you know, through this, it was sort of like, let's go after the kids, let's fuck them. Now we've gotten to the point where, you know, the market's actually back to trying to balance itself, maybe even oversold, and players are starting to step back in and seriously consider trades. And ironically enough, that's exactly what's supposed to happen at 38.2s. The question ultimately for me was which 38.2 was actually going to rule the day. And clearly this small range, see you later. This little bit larger range, and now this is the range from these kilos. Yeah, it looks to me, and actually that was the low that we did that. Is that low lower than that low? Looks like it's a little bit higher. Where the hell did I draw that? Where are you? Oh yeah, you are off that low. Okay, cool. So I'm just not quite sure. I think that this is a consolidation range. And I like the idea that we're kind of coming up against our exponential curve again. So I would expect, really, you know, I mean, you can kind of see it. Sure looks to me like this is going to be a bit of a trading range for a while. And it's interesting how we kind of talk about cyclical tops. If you look at the NASDAQ, it topped in March of 2000. The gold market topped in January 2000. Bitcoin topped in December of 2017. Could we ultimately see it? Was this the top? I don't know. I mean, I'm not in the business of calling tops. If this thing wants to move higher, great. At the very least now, you know, we can start thinking about things like bot setups if you want to play this thing heading back higher. So that would be something along the lines of that. So we've got at least 33%. Now what we want to see is 3 higher lows to actually help us frame risk. All right, and that's all that sort of W conversation. So let's see how it goes. Only time will tell. And then, you know, long and short of it here, if this story really has problems, we'll probably just do something like come up, that, and then lose this parabolic curve, and if we go through these lows that were just established recently, then you know the bull is over. But I don't, you know, this is a V top, so usually tops don't look like V's, kind of like here. So that was a V top. We had to come back up. Okay, we're still not done. Okay, well, we do come up. Okay, what are we going to do? Are we going to really crap out? Nope, actually, we're going to go up to new highs. So that's the same sort of thing. That's a V top up there. And I think also, too, Ethereum has a V top, right? So we know by definition that V tops like to be tested. If this is really a top, then it should make an M. Keep in mind, too, though, holy Shiite Muslim. Look at that. M and OBV. Massive. The bear volume impetus just exploding. The bears coming to life. Huge bearish confirmed. MACD bearish divergence. Willie stupid. M's in RSI. Huge M's in RSI. Through 50 lines. Come on, people. How many more anecdotes do you need? If you're a bull, just cool your fucking jets. At the very best, what we want to see is, probably a counter trend rally, then something to give us some sort of reason to get bullish. And for God's sakes, we have a rule at TRI that just says, if you see confirmed bearish divergence, which is what that is, you have to just cool your jets. So that's the image for you. And sadly, like I said, we get a rally up in here, we go in M out, that becomes a silver-plated sell signal. I don't know whether we're ready there. Like, that would be predicated on Big Brother comes out and shits on this DeFi space and says, you know what, enough is enough. We have to put the kibosh on this. Maybe that happens. But listening to Alex today, I got to tell you, it doesn't sound like they could even do that even if they wanted to. So we'll see how this story develops. There really isn't a trade per se for me, especially off the higher time frames. But I could clearly understand. I showed you those 38.2s. I showed you the double bottoms and stuff that are trying to form. I mean, I could understand guys coming in and taking long shots off these lows. It wouldn't be outlandish. But position traders, higher time frame, mom and pops, little old ladies. I mean, no. Okay, I think that's all the no's I'm going to give you today. As I said, fantastic presentation by Alex. Let's wait for some half-decent structure to tell us that, yes, this is still a bull. And then we can get enthusiastic again. But for now, along with, the junior stock market, I get the impression we're in consolidation mode now. So, all right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that rant. Got some value out of all that. The only thing left for Brian to say at this point is a big bye for now.